So I made my first game, joined my first game jam, and finally lost my virginity. So while I was going down the YouTube rabbit hole one day, I came across this video where I found out about a game jam being hosted by Lost Relic Games. Now, we all know how much I suck at programming, but game dev? Yeah, no, it was worse. Anyways, I said f it and decided to give it a try. So after I squeezed out a couple logs, I went to my computer and signed up for the game jam. But I needed an idea for the game that followed the theme from the game jam. The theme was connection. It took a while, but with a little help from my friend, I was able to come up with this concept. In my game, you will play as a messenger bird in medieval times who is trying to help a prince and a princess create a love connection by sending their love notes back and forth, like sexting but in the 1200s. The game is level based, and each time you deliver the note, you will return with a new note, strengthening the love connection. Each level will get progressively harder and harder, making it more difficult to deliver the messages. Now I know this might seem easy, but with my Unity and game dev knowledge, right now it's the best I could have done. So I have very little footage of the first day because I forgot to stream it, and once 3 hours passed it was too late, but this is what I ended up with at the end of day 1. Basically it was just simple graphics and game mechanics for the bird, which was just a spacebar to add vertical force, super simple. So day 2, I actually grew some balls and streamed. I think it was my longest stream, almost hitting 4 hours. My first addition was making the bird actually move to the other tower. Next, I added triggers for the floor and the ground, causing a game over screen to appear when you hit it. I then added a trigger box when reaching the other tower, which causes a past level screen to appear. If you miss and hit the tower, it would be game over as well. Lastly, I added the first bad guys walking on the ground. I gave them movement, animation, and a hitbox, which if the player collides with, causes another game over screen to appear. So on this day, I attempted to make the start screen for the game, and well, it was bad. Anyways, after that I ended up purchasing some art for the background of the game and its levels. I then added a coin object that players could collect, with each level only having a total of 3 coins, kind of like in Mario. With this I added level text and coin text that increase as you collect coins and advance levels. Lastly, I just added temporary scenes to advance to when completing the current level. This was just so I could make sure that the game was working once the bird reached the other tower. So thankfully, first thing I did this day was changing the start screen. It was shit. The original one didn't fit the art style and theme of the game, so I had to fix it up. With the purchased background assets, I created a start screen with a start game button, which calls the next scene when you click it, hence starting the game. Honestly, I didn't need to spend so much time on the start screen, but I just got bored and tried making it as pretty as possible, adding unnecessary things like moving clouds and one moving night, etc. In the end, it was nice, but took away precious time from my shitty game. Next, I began developing the second level and was going to flip the whole game 180 degrees so that the player could fly back to the other tower. I honestly do not know how I managed to make it work, but it was annoyingly and painfully difficult. So if you want to understand how I did it, check out the live stream because I honestly don't even remember how to explain it. So to start off this day, I began with fine-tuning the second level of the game by adding the coins and enemy bats. And then after a while of random fine-tuning, I knew the birds couldn't be the only enemies, because after a couple levels it would get kinda bland with just knights and flying birds, which began my rough and once again annoying journey of adding another enemy. But I was too lazy and stupid to figure that out, so I just tried to make knights shoot arrows at the sky. This seems really simple when playing the game, but oh my god, it was hard as fuck. And then I added the next 2 levels, totaling the game around 4 levels at this point, and just had to begin adding more enemy birds and arrow shooting knights. And after probably one of the toughest days of development, I closed the day off on making the end game scene once the game was fully passed. So day 6 was all about playtesting and adding more bow knights and enemy birds to each level, making sure the difficulty curve was just right. Now again, it seems simple when playing the game, but it was really tedious. I had to figure out the perfect starting points for the birds and enemy bow shooters. I had to take into account different strategies players might use to avoid all enemies, like flying straight up, going straight down, etc. Again, extremely tedious. And finally, the last day of development. On this day, I was planning to add the remaining levels, but it was my birthday. The game was due the next morning at 9 AM, and I was definitely not going to be conscious till the next afternoon. So I decided to just add the music for the game. I downloaded some song assets and chose the best one for the game. Initially, I wanted a different song for each level, but I ended up going with just increasing the song speed in each level to kind of give off that impression of the difficulty gradually increasing. And once I got all that done, I fine-tuned the game a little more, playtested from level 1 all the way to level 5, and finally submitted my first game into my very first game jam. So before I show off my resulting place in the Lost Relic Games game jam, I want to display all the wonderful comments I received for my stupid ass game. I honestly never thought I'd finish, let alone have people actually play my game and like it. So thank you, random strangers. Really, it made me very happy. Anyways, without further ado, here are my results for my game submission, Love Birds. Yup, not too bad for a really bad first game. In conclusion, I didn't place anywhere near first, but I didn't place near last either. I'm really just glad I finally completed a game for the first time ever while also entering and completing my first game jam. I was also surprised and really ecstatic for all the comments and love I got for the game, even though it was shit. Overall, it was a genuinely fun experience. I hadn't stayed up all night coding while drinking toxic energy drinks in a while, and I definitely missed that. So yeah, guys, that's my first game ever made, Lovebirds. I will leave the link in the description if you want to try it out for yourself on your computer. If not, I don't blame you, the game is ass. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and thank you to those very few who joined my live streams throughout the development process. See you in the next one.